Hey friends, Dr. Gabe Roberts here, the Subconscious Healer. In breaking free from pain, today let's talk about symptoms and what symptoms are, and recognize that symptoms aren't necessarily a problem that needs to get fixed. We should not look at them that way, and I mean symptoms from chronic pain to pelvic discomfort, digestive upsets, irritable bowel, tension headaches, all kinds of things, even brain fog. These symptoms and many more aren't necessarily problems to fix, but messages that our brain and our body are sending us, messages that need to be decoded and understood. Almost like a conversation that we aren't listening to. There's a message that it's telling us that it wants us to get, and if we are ignoring it, it first starts in whispers, then it starts to talk, then it starts to yell, then it flat out starts to scream. By the time it gets to the point where it's yelling and screaming at us, these are the symptoms that we can't ignore. These are the symptoms that whenever somebody tells you, just get over it or learn to live with it, it's terrible advice, because the screams are there for a reason. They're there to get your attention. And what is the core reason for that? What's the underlying reason for these messages? What if you would sit there and decode it, what's the ultimate message that your brain and your body is attempting to tell you? That the brain is interpreting some kind of danger, and it can do this in infinite ways. I was talking with a client the other day, and I said to her, your brain has learned to be terrified of disappointing others. See, disappointing others to your brain equals danger. So what's this do? It makes you be a people pleaser. It makes you not show any anger, not show any kind of what could be interpreted as a hostile emotion. So this makes you be super nice, super good, swallowing any kind of intuitive feedback that you would normally do. That could be some kind of boundary protection. You swallow that and you bury it in order to not make waves, in order to not upset others, in order to ensure that you don't, and this is all unconsciously, you don't know why you're doing this. You might rationalize and think why you're doing it, because you want to be a nice person and you want to be good, but the deeper message is your brain is simply seeing upsetting others or disappointing others as danger. Therefore, you'll go out of your way, taking on too much responsibility, being too nice in order to keep that perhaps dangerous response that your brain's interpreting from ever coming out to be. And of course, being too nice, avoiding speaking yourself, avoiding being authentic, avoiding saying no, only puts more pressure on you. So the point is, your brain can learn that multiple things are dangerous, but that's really what it comes down to. If you have reoccurring chronic symptoms, it's no longer a problem with the physical body, it's now a problem with the brain interpreting danger. And like I said, the body will whisper, trying to get attention until it fully evolves into a screaming with symptoms that just can't be ignored. And of course, doctors will oftentimes be very confused with these kind of clinical presentations. They'll label the person as having fibromyalgia, and we can't do anything for them. They might even say something like, we don't know. They might start labeling all these different things: chronic fatigue, systemic sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, all these different things that they can throw out there, diagnoses that don't help the client at all. They do not help the client long term. What they're simply doing is not listening to those messages. They're simply trying to silence the messages rather than decoding them. So what's a fast way to decode this message? What's a fast way to understand that it's the brain and perceiving danger? What's a very fast way of, again, neutralizing this by sending the brain messages of safety? There are several, and I will make sure that I cover those in upcoming videos in very clear manners, in a very systematic, structural way, so you understand what these messages are, how to understand that it's the brain perceiving danger, and how to convey safety to the brain. Because when the brain starts feeling safe, the body follows it. When the brain feels safe, it turns off the symptoms. Okay? It's not the body. Yes, the body feels like it's broken. The body hurts. The pain is very real. But the pain is not coming from the body. It's coming from the brain in danger, turning on the symptoms to make the body hurt, to get your attention that something needs to change. And what's that something again? Giving the brain a message of safety. What's the best way to do that? There's multiple ways, and I will cover those. But a very quick way that we can go over right now is heart-brain coherence, okay? It's coherence. We'll call it coherence. And we will start this in the next upcoming videos. I will start showing this in the very beginning so we can all, as listeners, as subscribers, and if you like this message, if it's something that resonates with you, hit the subscribe button so you can have so you can know when new stuff is coming up. And I will be presenting this kind of information daily to you, so you know how to understand the messages of your body, you know how to decode the messages, and you know how to convey safety to your brain, which ultimately turns the symptoms off. And now this is across the board, and everything I've seen from rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, skin conditions, migraine headaches, digestive disturbances, a number of things. We could sit here and list out A through Z in symptoms and diagnoses and all that. And what you do, if you look at diagnosis, you'll see that most of them are idiopathic, which means nobody really knows what causes them. Imagine that. Nobody really knows what causes a majority of diseases. And that's from the medical textbooks, right? I can tell you this, that an overwhelming majority of these, okay, maybe not all, but a majority of them are going to be from a brain interpreting some kind of danger. And when you can teach the brain to be safe, it teaches this, it teaches, when the brain is safe, it actually lowers the alarm systems. When the systems in the brain are lowered, the alarm systems, the threat response turns off, the symptoms turn off. It's that simple. So, heart-brain coherence. What's a fast way to convey safety to the brain and have numerous other benefits from this? The first thing you want to do is not place your attention on your symptoms. You want to place all your attention right on your heart space. And there's a way to do that. You can place your hand here, you can point with your fingers, but imagine, okay, like a spotlight of your awareness going right here. So you're putting all your attention on your heart space. That's the first thing. The second thing is you want to convey safety to your body in a language it understands. And the best way to do that is slowing your breathing down, but exhaling longer than you inhale. So exhaling for a longer period than you inhale, because we all breathe at different rates, and sometimes telling somebody to slow their breathing down may not assist them in the way that the body and brain recognize as a message of safety. When we are breathing and slowing our breathing down and making sure that we exhale for a longer period of time than what we inhale for. So for example, breathe in for a count of 4 or 6, breathe in for a count of 6, and exhale for a count of 10. Nice and slow. Breathe in for a count of 6. Exhale for a count of 10. Just doing that is a language that the neurology understands of safety. So the first thing, like a spotlight, awareness on the heart center, slowing your breathing down, exhaling longer. Exhaling longer than you inhale for. And the third step is select a moment in your life when you felt grateful, when you felt really grateful for something. Doesn't matter what it was, or how long ago it may have been, but allow yourself to step into that moment, that memory when you felt grateful, and bring those feelings back into your body. Okay? Attention on the heart space, like a spotlight shining right here, slowing your breathing down with longer times on the exhales, and then allowing yourself to find a moment when you felt gratitude for something. Allow yourself to feel those feelings of gratitude. And what happens is the heart itself has its own neural network system. In other words, the heart has brain cells in it. It's the only other part of the body besides the brain that has what are called sensory neurites, brain cells. And the brain can be very biased. The heart is not biased. So whenever you can actually do these 3 steps, you actually combine your hearts, and you actually synergize the frequency or the reading of the brain and the heart together, and that immediately gives the body a sensation of peace, of safety, of connection. Okay? So those are the 3 things you can do to immediately decode a message in your brain and body and respond in a way that is beneficial, in a way that gives your brain a message of safety. Okay? Again, the 3 steps, and you get benefits from this for hours. There's multiple thousands of biochemical reactions that are all benefiting. Stem cells even get activated in this process, and you will have more insights. You'll have more intuitive kind of solving, creative abilities, problem-solving abilities in your own mind start to become more active when you're in this state. So huge benefits from practicing this, okay? First thing, put attention on the heart center by imagining a spotlight shining here. Slowing your breathing down with more time on the exhalation than the inhalation. And find a moment when you felt gratitude and bring those feelings back. And immediately your heart and brain start communicating, okay? Very powerful way to begin decoding the messages that your brain and body are attempting to give you, okay? So if your symptoms aren't problems to fix, and when you have the idea that they are problems to fix, your brain is ultimately interpreting this as something is wrong. When it interprets something is wrong, the symptoms remain, okay? When you can teach the brain to be safe, the symptoms start to diminish. It's that simple. So practice this, and I will see you soon with more information on what you need to do to turn off your symptoms and ultimately heal from chronic pain and other conditions.